Again, it is only because of the vibes this game gives me. I believe the stars aligned. You know, we might be back. This game might be coming out in a week. And if I'm wrong, I've made a bet to watch the Arknights anime, make an entire breakdown on it. And yeah, that would take me like 3 weeks to do, and I don't want to do that. So I hope I'm right. Hypergriff, please. Oh, God damn it. I made probably the surest losing bet I think anyone could ever probably have made. As you can see from what I probably have shown you already, I said by the end of August we will get an Arknights Endfield release date, if not the game actually coming out in its entirety. Who the f did I think I was? Legitimately, really? It didn't happen. It won't happen. Arknights Endfield, probably we might get another beta announcement at Tokyo Game Show. That's besides the point. I made a bet with you that if it did not come out or have a release date by August 30th, I will watch the Arknights anime, as everyone has asked me to over the course of the past like 6 months or so. Now, just to break it down to you as easily as I can, we will watch the first season. It is 8 episodes, and we'll be splitting it into 3 acts, okay? Act 1 being episodes 1, 2, and 3. Act 2, 4 through 6. And say it with me, Act 3 is 7 and 8, okay? We're gonna see how this goes, and I want you to know, as I break down, watch it, give my reactions, and kind of explain how I feel as it's going through, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it if I don't like it. That being said, I do love Arknights, so we'll see how it goes, I guess. I'll see you guys in 3 episodes. God, fucking damn it. You're looking at the face of a man who watched season 2 for the first 3 episodes instead of season 1. We're off to a great start. Okay, look, so that issue aside, yeah, I'm an idiot. I made a mistake. We move on. I have finally watched the first act. It's been a few days since that intro segment because, yeah, boy, been busy. But more importantly, we're here to talk about it, okay? So to give you a brief rundown of where we're at, episode 1 mainly focuses on extracting the Doctor from cold sleep, getting him out of enemy hands, per se. And through all that, they kind of introduce us to the reunion. The, I guess you'd call them like a resistance group some way. Also, by the way, this is probably the perfect time to mention, I haven't actually paid attention to the story when I played this game. I am purely a grinder and a farmer on the game. I skipped the visual novel storytelling, okay? So that's why we're here and that's why we're doing this. Yes, we freed Doctor from cold sleep. In the first episode as well, he gets handed an iPhone to do his dailies, which I think is, yeah, relatable. And then in showing us the reunion, they also show how relentless they are in endgaming the civilians or people that are not part of their kind of faction, which is a, you know, a blanket kind of definition for everything, or a great metaphor for everything in Arknights. So everyone's kind of HLS threats, everyone hates everything. Racism is at its peak. It's not peak, it's at its peak. Okay, let's separate the words. And then at the end of the episode, right before the reunion members actually try to endgame a mother and child that ran away from, or ran in the wrong direction because they're brainless. The Doctor gets this crazy PTSD flashback moment where he can operate the drones, understands kind of muscle memory here, and uses just peak drone warfare to keep them alive and save them. Which will then segment into the next bit where we call oropathy rock cancer, which is the disease in the series where essentially you grow rocks and it slowly kills you. There's way more to it. It grows in your body, and yeah, it's essentially an incurable disease. And that's kind of the whole point of the Doctor, hence the name Doctor. Okay, I just want to say, it's not rock cancer, by the way. It's rock AIDS. We needed, or not we, Rhodes Island, or just all of the Arknights universe needed a Princess Diana, right? They needed someone to shake the hands of a rock AIDS person to prove it is not contractable through touch. Because my God, even though this mother and daughter got their lives saved, they just listen. The people who saved them, they just got told fuck off. They just got told get the fuck out of here. But after saving them, they get back to kind of extracting the Doctor and going on about their way. But in the process of extracting, they kind of get smokescreens. And this will introduce our main antagonists of, I'm assuming, season 1, Crown Slayer and Mephisto. By the way, whenever Mephisto is on screen, I cannot tell if he is the Joker or Jigsaw because he has bipolar and swaps between the two. One minute he's monologuing about society, the next minute he is let's play a game. He's absolutely fucking annoying. But that's besides the point. We'll get into that in a minute. And then after being introduced to them, we managed to find a quick escape route, which we then lead into a quick place for refuge where we get explained there is actually also a good side to originium, which, if I haven't explained that already, is the element, the mineral that kind of causes the rockades that is prevalent through all of Arknights as a universe. Kills pretty much everything it touches. But we learn here there is a catch-22, and it is the catch-22 of all catch-22s. So the element originium can also be used as like a catalyst of a power crystal, if you will, that can be injected into the bodies of people or of a, from what I understand, paraphernalia, like a wand or something like that. And it can enhance and kind of give them the powers that they have if they are an apt user and able to actually execute with what they are given. But yeah, you got to remember, it also it also causes AIDS, so it's kind of like, you can be strong as but in the same vein, you're gonna die soon. And then from here, we continue the evacuation away from Mephisto and Crown Slayer to get the Doctor to safety, where we kind of get to the town square, and there's a little bit of surveying, and then boom, which brings in the aura farming of Arknights in its truest form in the Tallulah introduction. She straight just wipes a motherfucking street in seconds, by the way. And while she walks in, there's just a fucking ember and a blaze. She has an army behind her. It goes pretty hard, okay? So Tallulah and her army, they have to kind of throw down and either kill or capture the Doctor. Seems like they kind of want to catch him more than want to kill him, but whatever floats your boat, either work. Kind of forces a bit of a standoff, at least in this moment in time. So they're fighting back and forth. Rhodes Island, Doctor, Tallulah, Mephisto. That's kind of like the setup they got going on here right now. And it goes kind of hard. Amiya kind of shows that she's more than just a character who wants everyone to live and just be the happy-go-lucky optimist of the world, which, if I haven't mentioned that already, that's exactly what she is and all she does. But, you know, she's got some hands. So you got to give the credit. She can throw down a little bit. And then all the fighting, they find a quick window of opportunity to just get out of there, skedaddle, survive. And as they're running out, our boy Ace, which I haven't mentioned yet, if I haven't mentioned him yet, he's my dog. He, in my opinion, is probably the best cast character in this series, both voice acting and like character demeanor and writing wise. He kind of fails the Indiana Jones, grab the hat under the closing door quick time event and gets stuck behind the rubble that collapses inevitably after everyone kind of darts out for safety. So the only person really held back is Ace. You know where I'm going with this. They try to kill it. They try to kill off my boy inside 3 episodes, but hold on. They fucking don't. I can't believe they didn't. I was beyond surprised. No, Ace actually survives in the most alpha way possible, you know. In a bit of a standoff, he fights to his last breath. Some way, somehow, even standing off against Mephisto and Tallulah, he lives. I thought he was gone for sure, so, you know, props, they got me in the first half there, I'm not gonna lie. And then even after all that, my boy saves one of the soldiers at the cost of his arm? Thank you, Yosta. You made a good character that's not directly pullable in Arknights. At least I don't think, from when I last played, I don't remember ever seeing Ace, but he could be a side character in the visual novel storytelling of the actual game. No idea. I digress. So after evacuating and seeing that Ace is actually alive, we are put on a helicopter to get back to Rhodes Island, which is our favorite time of every anime ever, the exposition dumping. We get a solid 5 minutes on this plane of just explaining what originium is, what catastrophes are, which are when rocks split, kind of put like rock mineral vapor into the air, which accumulate into giant clouds, which create catastrophes, which are like massive fuck off thunderstorms of cancer, AIDS, same thing. And they essentially also lay over the fact that pretty much every city that is still alive is only alive because it is actually mobile. They can move in advance to avoid the catastrophe storms to kind of keep everyone alive. And Rhode Island, which is the main place we stay, is essentially a mini city. It's more a gigantic train, but it's like a mini city. And then it goes on to give you some B-roll of the cast and crew. Pretty much everyone you can think of from the game's actually in these moments. It's just constant introduction after introduction after introduction through these first 3 episodes, but more importantly in the B-roll here, just going through all of the Rhodes Island areas. And then Doberman gives us our mission for what I'm going to assume is the next act, episodes 4 through 6. The Doctor and Amiya need to go help Kaltsit to get a contract signed for a temporary peace treaty to be able to operate within Lungmen district. Lungmen is another city. And that concludes the first act. Now, the most glaring thing I want to point out about the series before we start giving it some compliments is the Doctor sucks. I don't know why they cast who they cast, right? I don't think the performance of the Doctor is necessarily bad. I just think the Doctor is way too skittish. I would even bother to call bro a bit of a twink. He is just the wrong kind of character for someone who's so gallant, rogue, and, you know, just such a stoic kind of man in the game, okay? Also, I hate the fact they gave him a face. Like, the whole thing of seeing under the mask whenever, like, to see his emotions through his eyes or whatever logic they want to kind of put there. I don't like it. I'm not the biggest fan, okay? What I will say, though, was I was surprised by the animation. I thought the animation would have been really bad. Because I watched Season 2 first. I don't know what's going on in Season 2, but Season 1 looks leagues better, okay? And as always, like, I feel like gacha games do suffer from a bit of the element of, because it is a gacha game, your cast has to be so obscenely large, which kind of also tandems into gacha game anime series just not holding up because you have to have everyone as a main character. And when everyone's a main character, no one's a main character, okay? But with that being said, they're not terrible. Everyone doesn't suck. It's more just like, since everyone tries to get screen time, unless their name is Amir or Doctor, they're currently on screen for no more than like 30 seconds at a time. So yeah, these are just early complaints, and overall, I still think it's a good experience. Like, I'm quite enjoying the first few eps, but we'll see how it turns out. Maybe the Doctor will grow on me. I still think to this minute, nay this second, Ace is the best character in the series. By far. I don't know why they had a side character like this just potentially nearly thrown away, if not actually gone, because he's not actually back with them at the moment. He survived, sure, but I don't know how he's getting back. We'll see. At the moment, only complaint really is Doctor, as you can tell. Damn, I wish the Doctor was good. But hey, he might grow on me. He might get better. Who knows? I guess we'll see in Act 2. See you in a bit. I mean, we're 2 acts in. I guess, like, round of applause. We actually got here in a timely fashion. It only it took me a day from the prior act that we watched to get to this point. I have thoughts, but let me quickly just recap where we're at here for those who haven't watched the series. We finished off Act 1 with realizing the next thing that the Rhode Island needed to do was meet with Lungmen. Meet with them to make a peace treaty to be able to operate within their borders, okay? Yeah, and we do that. We progress through the Lungmen. We meet Chen on the way. She is essentially kind of manning the door, if you will. Yeah, and we learn very quickly they ain't very happy about infected people. They don't like AIDS, which is insane. It's a hot take, personally. And after meeting Chen and her taking us to Mr. Lungmen himself, I believe his name was Chief Wei. Yes, I was right on that. And on the way to meet Ye, Chen kind of explains, yeah, we don't fuck with the infected in the slightest, mainly because it's cut off the few to save the many. If we keep the infected out, no one on the inside of Lungmen's actually going to be in any real danger. Which, I get that mentality. People are going to be shocked by that, but, you know, sacrifice the few to save the many. Makes sense. Happened time and time again in history. So anyway, they sit down, they have the conversation with Chief Wei and Chen, essentially kind of pleading their case as Culture does, saying that, hey, you guys are strong, but you're not fight up the reunion strong. You're a bunch of pussies. That's more or less what she's trying to say. She's trying to reverse psychology them into agreeing with her deal here. But Chief Wei kind of just goes out of his way and just says, hey, listen, we watched you guys come in. You guys can fight, sure, but we're fine. We're good. We don't need you. Respectfully, double it and give it to the next person. Fuck off. But then Amiya kind of quickly butts in to explain Tallulah, okay? To explain the walking fireball of a nuke that will wipe everyone out literally in a week, maybe even a few days. And they're much more warmer to this ideology of partnering with anyone they really damn well can, because you need all the firepower you can get to kind of beat someone of this caliber. So before they sign on the dotted line, Wei has some terms and conditions. He has 2 main conditions. 1, destroy the reunion threat, and 2, we'll get to 2 when you beat 1, okay? And they kind of go, I bet, we'll get rid of the reunion for you, and in return, you guys will give us temporary sanctuary to run amok, essentially. Now, it takes off from here to kind of do a couple missions there for Chen. Chen says go into the slums, check out the slums for reunion members, take them out, you know what to do. But Emiya and the Doctor kind of run into, a bunch of people just bullying the ever-living shit out of, like, a bunch of kids. And then, after Emiya flexing dark arts and just insta-killing pretty much everyone there is just a threat, like, hey, I could do this, I won't. But boy, if you don't! The people that were getting bullied pretty much say, hey, save our friend Misha, they're in trouble. You find Misha running away, they catch up to Misha, they find Misha, they have to convince Misha, saying Misha a lot. Misha's a little bit important, at least in this arc of the series. We'll get into that in a second. They explain to Misha that they're to protect them and show that they're infected as well, kinda to gain a temporary trust with her. They then proceed to escort Misha. However, the reunion kind of hit them with a little bit of a, box-in strat, and that's when probably the highlight of these, like, 3 episodes kind of come in. That's when Exusai and Texas kind of start running the show a little bit. Exusai talks as if there is no real grasp of the gravity of the situation, and everything is just a vibe. Even though people are literally dying, it's fun and games to work. Gotta respect the hustle, gotta respect the mentality monster that she is. And Texas is just, Texas. She's as dense as can be. She's book smart, not street smart. And her denseness is kind of charming. I'ma just say it. She's one of my favorite characters in the game. It makes sense that I have a bias towards her in the series too, okay? Just thought I'd put that out there. I love these two. They made it a lot easier to sit through because I'll get into my problems in a second. They get boxed in by Reunion. Everyone just starts fighting for their lives, essentially, cutting people out, 1v5ing, save yourself, I'll hold back, I'll hold them off sort of thing. We get introduced to Skull Crusher at this moment in time. Unless it was Skull Smasher, it's Skull something. And Skull Smasher has some understanding of who Misha is, and Misha is a little bit stun-locked by that, ever so slightly. Anyway, they decide the best way to escape the overbearing amount of people is by jumping from building to building. Keep in mind, Misha is like in the later stages of oropathy, which is like exclusive rock express, like DHL Express AIDS, like Amazon Prime delivery level AIDS. It runs through your body quick. And they went, we'll just jump. Just Red Bull athlete parkour, one building to the next. They do it, they're fine. It's an anime, suspension of disbelief, whatever. And then as you can tell, when they land and they're a bit closer to some level of safety here without having the reunion on their tail, Misha, kind of collapses, turbo cancer, know the deal. They give Misha some quick, emergency treatment. Eventually, they get Misha into government custody, which Chen and the LGD, which is like the Lungman police, kind of take over, like military police, take over from there. Now, Reunion zero win on Rhodes Island from this point. They kind of hit them with the, we ain't done with you, but after a bunch of fighting, you kind of realize this was a trap card. They wanted Rhodes Island separated so they could actually ambush the main convoy with Chen and Misha and take it from there. And bada bing, bada boom, W straight up just drops a bomb, on the SUV, blowing it out, and forcing like a quick fight there. So Chen and W go at it. TLDR, during this firefight, Misha is taken, okay? But one thing I have forgotten to mention is the importance of Misha to the reunion. Misha's dad, from what Shen says, was like the first lead doctor in Lungmen, just in general. It was like one of the founding researchers, essentially. So the amount of knowledge that they would have, essentially by proxy, because if Misha knew something from a kid or from family or whatever it may be, even though they don't really have a home, it kind of matters to make sure Misha doesn't go to the reunion in case they spill the beans on something that they really could benefit in knowing. That's why Misha is so important. And then they kind of have this moment where Chen's like, we're going to get her back. Chen just walks out, everyone's like, hey, what are you doing? Just drops the one line of every superhero movie ever, like, we're going to go win this fight. We're gonna bring him back. Just like the most altruistic shit ever. They kind of follow her, go into a fight, start pushing back against the reunion. Chen gets a stray crossbow arrow shot at her from God knows where, middle of nowhere pretty much. And the very last second, Hoshiguma kind of pops in and deflects it, then proceeds to take on 3 people at once. And that was kind of where it hit me. This is the most jarring thing, at least for me, when it comes to gacha storytelling in anime series, is the whole point of it, at least from the way I feel it at this point, is you're meant to just point at the screen every time you see someone that you know from the game. Because the amount of times, Hoshiguma is a prime example of someone who literally just does something for one scene, and I'm talking literally a singular scene. They might pop up in B-roll later on, sure, but they got no lines, they don't do nothing. They are literally just there to do something, to be like, hey, I'm in the series, remember me? I'm one of your favorites, and then they just leave again, okay? it just kind of hit me like the whole point I'm watching this is just a glorified advertisement for the game, which makes sense. But when you see what Arknights has produced on a bigger scale, like the PVs with W and that kind of thing in the main YouTube channel, it kind of sucks because you know they are very, very, very capable of making something good, but it's kind of like with the anime, they phoned it in, which, sure, I get it. I understand. They're not the ones who made it. They more than likely just sold the IP rights to an animation studio to make it. But then again, it is also made by Yoastar Pictures, and, look, Yoastar is a very hit or miss company at the moment, so I'm sure they had some say in the way this was going to go down when this came out a few years ago. But I still can't help but shake. They could have done something more to push it into like being an actual good production. Like, I'm not asking for an Arcane or anything like that. I'm not saying reinvent the wheel here. But when the series quite literally feels like each episode is just doing the intro visual novel of each stage and then traversing to the next, because there are some scene changes which just feel so like I missed something. There are so many scenes where we just go from two people talking at nighttime and then boom, it's the middle of the day and in the slums. like it just feels so forced to get from point A to point B so in such a linear fashion that there's no way to explore the world or explore the area that we're currently in, or even really the characters. I am also going to double down on the doctor thing. The more I watch this, I get it. He's a mute kind of character, self-insert, you know, sort of being in the series, but I didn't know it was possible to talk less than 0. They've actually found a way to do it. Sure, we spoke a little bit in episodes 1 to 3, but in this Act 2 kind of segment between 4 and 6, I counted maybe 5 times, if that, and most of them were one-word lines. I get it. Self-insert, I understand. But even someone like a Kirito on the Sword Art Online actually fucking talks and gives some narrative direction. But hey, maybe they'll mix up a little bit the ending sequence we have in Act 3 coming up shortly, okay? Overall, I don't think it's a bad anime. It's definitely made towards people who have actually played the game, because if you watch this as a standalone, it is so shallow, at least right now. Maybe this is all building up to the biggest gotcha moment of like episode 7, episode 8, but for me, I'm gonna finish it, and I'm gonna give it an honest opinion. I'm happy to be wrong. I don't hate it right now. There just isn't a lot happening. The pacing is putting me to sleep ever so slightly, but hey, we'll address that all at the very end when I finish everything. See you guys in Act 3. We have finally finished Act 3. For you guys, it's been a few seconds. For me, it's been 2 days, but we got there. That's all that matters. All right, so to pick up exactly where we left off, Misha was effectively kidnapped by Reunion, and yeah, that's exactly where we start off. We start off from the POV of Misha waking up from, I guess she was knocked out, fatigue, something. Waking up from her bed, and a Reunion member kind of greeting her, saying like, "Oh my God, you're okay. We've been waiting for this. It's been a hot minute." By the way, this guy that greets her from the Reunion is just like the most chill, happy-go-lucky Labrador type of motherfucker there is, and I am just so caught off guard by that. It's not exactly what I expected, and I guess it kind of paints a picture that Reunion isn't all that bad. So yeah, they very nonchalantly just mentioned that, oh, I heard from you from Skull Shatterer. The name Skull Shatterer just doesn't sound like someone that would be friends with a person or allies with a person that is this chill, this single Reunion member. I don't know why I'm harping on this so much. I just really didn't expect it. not in the slightest. I was like, oh, I heard you from Skull Shatterer. He's like the best guy there is. So Misha then meets up with Skull Shatterer, which kind of explains a little bit about Reunion and the goals here, and takes off the mask, and no one cares until they put on the mask. I don't know why I'm doing a band impression. Takes off the mask, and it is, lo and behold, Misha's little brother, Alex. I don't know about you, but in the games, whenever I saw Skull Shatterer, he looked to be at least 6'8". He looked ginormous, by the way, in the sprites and in the live gameplay itself. So when I see that Skull Shatterer can't break 5'7", and is a kid at that, it just really took me out of it for a second. At least from an immersion standpoint. Oh, leader of a terrorist organization. Would probably need to wear platform shoes to have any chance having eye-level discussion with anybody. I'm 5'10", I don't know why I'm talking shit. But then back into this monologue with Skull Shatterer pretty much explains that Rhode Island are the enemy. Rhode Island aren't actually people who want to get things done. They want to look good in the public eye as well, trying to fix the disjointed perception of infected people, e.g. the racism. the racism in the series. And the more and more Skull Shatterer explains how and what the goals are of Reunion, they line up pretty damn similarly to Rhode Island, except when you need to consider this, yeah, they want to bend people with the will and the power that they have with their infantry, okay? So you have Rhode Island, which goes about it the right way, the way that humanity or people with a soul would perceive it. And then you have the military police of Attack on Titan way, which is you will obey or you will die, okay? So, same goals, wires just got crossed somewhere along the line, I guess, you know, like maybe in another life, these people are all friends and they're all on the same team. But during all this, Rhode Island actually does track down the location where they're at. And the goats obviously are doing some reconnaissance. Okay, we got X's in Texas out there, kind of just voice crack, kind of just checking everything out. So after confirming the whereabouts of Misha, we get into a war. We get in a war between Reunion and Rhodes Island. But right before this war, there is a very key point that is worth mentioning, that Misha is meant to be protected by W, because right before the war commences, or the battle I should probably say, probably fits it better. The battle commences. Skull Shatterer asks W to just give undevout protection to her. Keep her safe. We're going to fight. And she's like, yeah, kid, I guess if you really want me to, sure. If you guys know W, you know exactly where this is going. She kind of just does her own thing, more or less. But she's like, hey, I'll do it. Swearsies. And then they start throwing down. We get the classic battle cry of both teams just swarming into this fight. We get a little bit of combat here and there, like a little bit of eye candy to watch and be like, oh, okay, they got hands, okay. And this goes back and forth for a little. And then eventually there was a distraction which leads to a grenade of Skull Shatterers destroying the rocks behind where the Doctor is currently standing. Rubble's down, you know, it's like a mini landslide, nothing to really worry about. But the shockwave does knock everyone down for a brief second. And with this, it is worth noting, Ami is in the thick of the fight. She's in the thick of it. Meanwhile, Doctor is doing his drone thing from a distance, you know, trying to orchestrate the battle as like a general mastermind from the back. So Skull Shatterer catches up. They have a little bit of a fight back and forth. And with the wounds that Skull Shatterer has accumulated, the thought process here is to hit them with a self-destruct from Voltorb, is the best way to put it, without this video getting age restricted with YouTube's new guidelines. Skull Shatterer runs in with a grenade, tries to take everyone out with them, and Amiya, seeing this in desperation, being so far away, is just screaming for a way to stop this. And she kind of awakens to, like, you know, native potential here, and straight up just pierces through Skull Shatterer and also slicing the grenade, which stops the detonation of it. I don't know the logic here. It's whatever, I don't care. Stops the detonation of the grenade, but also takes out Skull Shatterer in the process. You can see how this is problematic when their main goal here is to save, air quotes, and retrieve Misha. Okay, you can see how Skull Shatterer dying in a situation like this is a problem, right? Because it's exactly as you think. Misha sees all this and is just in disbelief of what happens. Now, after the fight, and they're kind of doing a bit of a death count, so to speak, and regrouping with the injured and everything like that, they get told to go downstairs from the safe room that they are staying in, and who else is to greet them but W with a walkie-talkie. Drops in and says, hey, it's for you, alongside a grenade, and dips out. Classic W stuff, you know. Arguably, it is pure cinema with what the hell is going on here. W just can't read a room. It is actually great for all intents and purposes. Let me just say that. But yeah, this is very quickly, as we can tell, started the villain arc of Misha. She ain't taking the fact that her brother is past tense. They do everything they can in terms of communications with the walkie-talkies to talk things out, explain what happened, take complete fault, and just, it was a byproduct of the battle sort of thing. And Misha ain't having it. Misha is, no. Misha is Skull Shatterer now. No one cares until I put on the mask, Batman. Amiya. I'm gonna kill myself. So Misha kind of takes the mask of Skull Shatterer, the whole entire getup, gets back out into the battlefield with the leftover people that are still fighting, because she believes in the infected. She really does. As being someone who is part of that group of people, she gets it. She gets the pain and suffering that comes with it, and the labels and the stigma and everything. So gets back out there. Everyone's like, oh my god, Skull Shatter is alive. There is a huge second wind in morale here, and they start going to town. However, Misha gives to the first in command of Reunion a flare to pop it and say it is time to retreat. And also, in between all this, like, with all the fight scenes you see, I just want to mention it out on a whim here. There are so many scenes with Liscom. There are a couple scenes with Liscom where she just tanks, like, 3 to 5 magic users, like, fireballs, without fail, every single time. Like, rock beats scissors, Glock beats magic. It is like, you have this divine intervention from these casters, a bestowed upon power, and she just hits them with a Glock as retaliation, and never loses. I fucking love this show. And also, in between all this, Texas and XXI are still kind of doing recon on the top of the mountain. And whenever they're on screen, I just get giddy and happy, because they're kind of like a good break from just trying to push a serious story, which, at least to me, falls a little flat on pushing it as being as serious as it is. So it's good to get away from that and be like, oh, yeah, there are like 12 people behind me. I know they're behind me. I'm going to do everything I'm doing until they get really close. And then, oh, I knew you guys were there the whole time. Kills them all instantly. Finished. But during this retreat, getting back on track, everyone starts fanning out, getting back to safety. And through all the craziness and hecticness of a battle, Amiya has stopped by and kind of gotten very, very, very close, into close proximity of Skull Shadow, which is now Misha, and is trying to take all the fault here. It is all her fault. Her brother is dead. However, in Misha's head, that is not going to change anything. Apologies change nothing. It is all about the actions. They both draw at each other. Skull Shadow drawing a signature grenade launcher, and Amiya drawing her dark arts. Now, they both do the one thing you never do on a battlefield, which is hesitate. Chen has said this in the series, which I think I failed to mention, which my apologies, like 2 to 3 times, that you never hesitate. It always ends badly. People will die. You have to act instantly. However, they both hesitate. So it's a little bit of a standstill, but Chen, being the general she is, swoops in and just stabs her. Just runs her sword straight through Misha, which, as you can think, kills her virtually instantly. And again, it is a situation of war. You cannot save everyone. You can only save who you can save. You have to act instantly, be cold-blooded, and yeah, this doesn't go down well with Amiya, really, at all. Like, there is just pure shock and horror, but it is a war. It is a war zone. You cannot save everybody. I side with Shen here. Hot take. She did the right fucking thing. If someone is pointing a grenade launcher at you, regardless of who is on the other end of it, there is danger afoot. Even if they don't pull, they could like, you know, they could flinch. A whole bunch of things could go that could cause that thing to go off and kill everyone around us, alright? She made the right call, just saying. And then after all this, there's a little bit of B-roll footage that kind of shows, like, this is where we are currently at. The war, at least this front of it, I keep calling it a war, it is a battle. This battle is over, but there is an ongoing war that will be done. And the doctor does ask, Amiya, what is your actual end goal here? What are you leading Rhode Island to? To stop hatred. That's the simple answer. She wants to stop the cycle of hatred. She wants to stop the racism and stigma of infected and kind of lead the world back to how I assume it was portrayed before Originium and Oropathy and all the fun stuff that comes with space AIDS or rock AIDS, however you want to say it. And that, my friends, wraps up Season 1. Now, I have thoughts, as you can tell. It's okay. I feel like this shines most when it's for people who have already played the game. Because, as I mentioned, I believe in my Act 2 review of it, the whole series is kind of built around and banked on for the pointing at the screen of seeing characters that you've played as or like in the game. And they might not even have lines most of the time. It's like, we just need extras, and instead of running random extras of the area, we're going to put characters that you can pull for there instead, which, sure, like, it's whatever. But I also feel like when you do that, it's a bit of a double-edged sword, because there's expectation of something from that character because they are noteworthy in your mind with a predisposition for playing the game. So, like, that bothers me. And that is not necessarily a fault of Arknights, it is a fault of the genre of tie-in gacha game animes. So we can kind of look past that. But the main thing for me that kind of sucks is just the pacing of it very much does feel like you're playing 1-1, 1-2. You're going stage by stage, and each stage is a episode from the visual novel variant from the game. It's just a direct adaptation. And one-to-one adaptations, although they can be fine, we have learned time and time again, they are not how you make a good tie-in or a good video game series. Usually you take the universe, which in my opinion is the shining light of Arknights, is its universe. You take the universe, you have maybe 1 or 2 characters that are actually from the game, and the rest are original characters for the series, which can then build into, you know, something more, something people love. A great example is Cyberpunk. You take Night City, you leave V and everyone else out of it, and you start with your own characters. Because the universe is a selling point for video games. You don't play a video game where you start a 9 to 5 because the story is really good. No, the setting is kind of what grabs you first things foremost, and then the story is a secondary. And I think that is also very important to take into account when you see a series like this. Not everything's ever going to be an Arcane. I understand that. Cyberpunk, again, is a rare exception of it actually being good when you make an adaptation. But it is something definitely worth considering. If you are someone who has never played Arknights and decide to watch this, it may feel a bit just lacking. And I can see that entirely. Because it's very hard if you've already played the source material of something or understand a base concept of the source material to take that out of the account when you are watching a series to see what it was like for newcomers. But from my perspective and my 2 cents, I think it doesn't really work unless you haven't already played the game. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It's a bit disappointing when we've seen things that Arknights has created, and this is the anime that we get in return. Like, sure, I guess. It's not bad, is what I'm trying to say. It's just we know it can be so much better. But I will say the note it ends on with that shining light to, you know, revolutionize the world and get it back to peace was pretty fascinating. It made a little bit of warmness in this old man's heart. I was like, oh, maybe we continue to season 2, but if I do, again, I will cover it. It will be in a video, so we'll see how that goes. But more importantly, let me know what you think about the series. I understand a lot of people here who watch me for Arknights related content are there more or less to see a guy learn about it, because playing it, I am not good. Ask anyone who ever collab with playing the game, or watch my live streams, which twitch.tv/MaximumGacha, or on my YouTube channel you're seeing right now, they are live there too. I struggle. Not because I'm bad, but because my account's a day 1 account and the game's 5 years in. And I'm also shit. But let me know what you think down below about the anime, the good things, the bad things. Tell me if you want to see season 2 and like the video as well, if you do believe that's something you actually want to see. I'm very happy to do it. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I'm hoping it's under 40 minutes, but I think that's as a far cry from what it actually is. Maybe. But yeah, thank you so much for sitting the whole way through this long-ass video, and it really means a lot that you got here, okay? If you did, seriously, from all my heart, thank you. This is the longest form type of video I've ever made that isn't a raw react. But let me know what you want to see next, and join the Discord if you haven't already, in the description. Bye-bye now!